Your personal evolution it's like your own personal training that's coming from the soul aspect of you. Understanding your personal, emotional, mental, spiritual evolution is like understanding the part of your life that is constantly bringing you challenges, but not to punish you. They're there to grow you because they're a major part of, the expansion that you're asking for. And so what it looks like is maybe the mirror of the outer world, your personal ordering of the universe, giving you puzzles or exercises that stretch you, that move you, that wake up parts of your spirit and then make them stronger, make these parts of you wiser and more loving towards yourself and everyone else every time you work through them. And understanding evolution through your evolution sphere in your Gene Keys profile, that's like having a personal trainer for the soul. It's like imagining a video game where each level helps your character become braver, smarter, more skilled. That's your evolution sphere in your Gene Keys Hologenetic profile in a nutshell. Except the game is life, and the treasure is the real you, noticing how much more whole and powerful he or she feels because of these exercises that are stretching you. And what helps you understand the evolution sphere, which I think is one of the most most misunderstood and underappreciated sphere in all of the 11 Gene Keys spheres in your profile, because it triggers your growth. Because without challenge, you'd stay stuck in the same repeat loops of consciousness. It reflects the shadow that you get to face over and over again until you make peace with it. It helps you unlock your gifts by facing what scares you or frustrates you the most. And it builds core stability, a strong foundation of you that's emotional, mental, maybe even physical, but definitely spiritual, so that you're not easily thrown off center when life gets messy, and life always gets messy. That's not going to stop. So in understanding this evolution sphere, what really helps you to ground it and live it as an everyday reality, this real life living out of your highest potential, your gift, or even the city frequency of your evolution, is to understand it through context. And one of the best ways that I work with people and help them understand the evolution sphere through context is to pit it against and contrast it against, is a better way to say it, with another sphere. And what better sphere than your core wound or your evolution? So with your evolution. So your evolution sphere is part of your activation sequence. It's part of the golden path of the Gene Keys. There's these different sequences: the activation, the Venus, and the Pearl. And now there's the Star Pearl, which is very exciting. So when you take the evolution sphere from the activation sequence, what you're seeing is the main life challenge that repeats in different forms until you grow through it. And the vocation / core wound from the Venus sequence, it's like the nexus of the sacred wound that you carry in this life. It's what drives your evolution and inspires you to grow and expand. It's the very heart of your suffering that it's like the catalyst, that friction, that grit that becomes the pearl of knowing yourself and living full out in this life. So I'm going to give you just a little bit of context here, but this is kind of a preface to an invitation that I'm going to deliver at the end of this little talk, where I'm going to be doing this wisdom share called Genius Evolution, where we're going to talk very specifically about the evolution sphere, coming up in a masterclass that's going to be on July 29th, 2025. And then I have Genius Fractal, which is a very innovative, very unique wisdom share. Lived wisdom of working with your gene keys in the activation sequence through the context of understanding each of these 4 spheres of the activation sequence of the gene keys through contrasting it with the core wound. This is such a powerful way to understand your particular evolution as it pertains to you and your particular gene keys, right? And your line numbers. So the evolution, it's your main life challenge, right? The evolution sphere, it shows you the thing that keeps knocking on your door in slightly different disguises, and it's understood through the relationships that trigger you, the fears you try to outsmart or over effort to try to overcome or run from even. It's the life situations that shouldn't, quote unquote, keep happening, but they do in repeat loops. And these challenges, you could call them that, they're opportunities really. Why they keep coming around is because this sphere, in a sense, is training you. It's the personal trainer of your soul. It's not punishing you. It's not gaslighting you. It's not trying to trick you. It's not trying to slap you around and bully you. It's not trying to do any of those things. It's a training ground. It's a proving ground for yourself. It's inviting you to grow through it, not bypass it or move around it or just push it under a rug. Your evolution really holds the exact shadow frequency that it humbles your ego just enough to invite curiosity, to invite deeper questioning, to invite in a kind of deeper surrender. And when you do that, it births your true genius. Thus, that's why I call Genius Fractal my teaching, my sharing on the activation sequence, because your genius is rolled up in all of this. But it really gets juicy, and it really fills out into the bigger picture of your life when you can understand this with a greater in-depth look at your core wound, which is your sacred pain, your hidden genius of service, highest service to yourself and to the world is rolled up in that. This is the origin point of your deepest wounding, the core wound. It's beyond just personal. It's even beyond being archetypal, as the gene keys are known to be, but it's ancestral. It's part of the collective human ache that lives inside you in a very unique expression and frequency, as visited through your shadow, and then transmuted into your gift and into your city. But here's what's really special and elegant and simple about understanding your deepest wounding. And when we look at the core wound through the contrast of the evolution sphere, it gives you a very dialed in perspective on the exact frequency that you're here to alchemize and offer to others through your life's work, because the evolution sphere and the activation sequence follows the life's work. So your pain, or what you're calling your pain, or your challenge, or your suffering, it is the very portal to your purpose. And your purpose is not primarily what you do. Your purpose is who you be, how you show up every single day, the frequency you carry, your unique essence and expression that only you can inhabit. Your purpose is to be that. And what you do with that is secondary. So people who get really wrapped up in these teachings about, what's my purpose? Think of it the other way around, that it's something you do first. No. The doings that you're doing are only as good as the being you are being. So your doings can only ever follow and be a coherent match for who you're being. So here's your vocation or your core wound, calling out who you really are underneath all of the roles you thought you had to play, the masks you had to wear, the expectations you had to manage, the real you underneath all of that. And your evolution are those moments of challenge, saying, well, you might think this is who you are, but is it really? Can we be curious about maybe you're more than who you thought you were? much more. And the second you get curious about that, and you begin to probe that and lift the veil and see what's behind all of that, wow. These two spheres working together, they're a powerhouse. They're what I call invisible circuits. And these invisible circuits are my own unique way of expressing the inherent shadows or challenges and gifts and city frequencies, and looking at them, you know, like a faceted diamond. The invisible circuits, these circuits that are not connected in traditional teachings of the Gene Keys. They're something I guess, quote unquote, discovered while I was doing my own teaching of the Gene Keys in classes and courses and private work with clients. These invisible circuits, they act as like hidden threads, making these quantum connections of expression that are, again, non-conventional and non-traditional teachings about the Gene Keys. But they're really, really powerful. They're incredibly powerful. And so I have this opportunity of being able to share with you something about the invisible circuit that exists between the evolution sphere and the core wound sphere when I'm going to be doing Genius Evolution, which is a masterclass that I'm going to be teaching on July 29th at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern. It's a very small investment. Information will be in the description of this video. And then in the Genius Fractal program, which is only open to a very limited number of members, because I like small, intimate group containers, because that's where depth occurs, when there's intimacy. And we always can pull out these greater hidden threads of depth and nuance about ourselves when we feel safe in intimate circles. So I don't like big group programs. I don't teach those anymore, especially when it comes to the Gene Keys, because these are the intimate and profound workings that create a template of what I call the new human blueprint. The frequency of the new human blueprint is about living in coherence with your divinity, also your own biology, your beloved humanity, and how all of that is intertwined and interconnected in one beautiful tapestry. And the invisible circuit, it's just the hidden thread that connects all of that. And we get to work through that in the life's work, the evolution, the purpose, and the vocation sphere. So they sit on this hidden ley line in your own astrology, your own biology, your own DNA, your own cellular story, your own ancestry. It's a thread of transformation. I like to think of it also as the heroine's circuit, because it's like this hidden hero's journey right in our own biology and our own divinity and our own star map of who we are and how the planets looked when we were born. It's the architect line of the new human. And whatever name you want to give it, it's not visible on the hologenetic profile, but it is felt, especially when we put our attention and focus on it. And whatever we put our attention on, because we're all powerful creators, that is what we bring as the reflection in the mirror of what we call outer reality. Anything we give our attention over to is what becomes our reality. And when we give our attention over to these hidden threads and we explore them, we contemplate them, we investigate them, we go deep with them, then this inner circuitry turns pain into purpose. It turns challenge into character and strength, and it turns shadow into service. And so the gift that exists in your evolution sphere, it begins to stabilize in your field as an everyday felt reality. The gift in your core wound becomes your sacred offering to the world. It's always been that grit that maybe you experienced it over a lifetime up until now, that now gets to become the pearl. It's the gift in the life's work sphere that gets to become effortless expression because of your work with the evolution sphere and your core wound. And it together, it just powers this engine of embodied prosperity, and you'll be amazed because It's not like you're attracting or magnetizing anything. You already were all of that. But now you have the felt experience of being embodied in it, inhabiting it. And when we kind of poke the bear of the evolution sphere to render that grit into the pearl, we get to ask certain questions like the ones I'm going to leave you with right here. And by the way, if you love this content, please like and subscribe to this, because it not only really helps my work to be seen. I don't do advertising, and I don't do frequent enough videos to please the algorithm, but I am here for service, and I am here to have these reflections from my own life benefit you guys too. And so if you find that this discussion, my work, does benefit you, I'd love to know. And the way you can show me is liking and subscribing. And also other people with these same kind of interests as yourself, interested in the new human frequency, they can find my work a little more easily every time I get a little boop from you. So these provocative questions that we get to contemplate when we start looking at not only the evolution sphere, but the evolution sphere in contrast with the core wound. What challenge in my life keeps repeating? And maybe it's not as a punishment. It's not to cripple me or hold me back, but it's a training. It's coming from my higher soul, oversoul aspect of me, the highest frequency of me available, saying, hey, let's try this perspective. Let's try looking at this from a different angle. You're a diamond, and you've only seen a few facets of this diamond. Let us show you some new ones when we start looking at ourselves in a deeper way. Another question we get to ask when we look at these two spheres together: what version of success am I ready to let die? Like, where have I been told and sold a lie about success that really doesn't resonate with me, maybe never did? And when I'm willing to be curious about what's beyond that, I can let a truer expression of myself live, the one that was always meant to be in the light and held as the highest expression. What old mask or role still gives me false safety? What would I feel without it? Can I allow the part of me that hurts to also be sacred, to be holy? If I stop trying to become someone, what part of me would finally feel safe to emerge, to just show herself or himself? And we can map and make sense of these questions together. So you can feel where you are in this place of metamorphosis, and you wouldn't be listening this long if you're not in this place of metamorphosis, feeling this place. Even if you feel like in a limbo zone of your own transformation, that's good. The confusion you feel in that space is good, because all confusion means in this context is that you're questioning the old you. And everything that old, let's just call it 1.0 version of you, everything that version of you thought she believed she knew to be true. Confusion to that version of self is good, because that's what kind of gently coaxes the ego to start to be curious, maybe. Not threatened, just curious. And so if you'd like to plug in your actual gene keys for these spheres, this is what I offer in the Genius Fractal program, and that starts on August 20th. Again, to a very limited number of members, and I'll have the full breakdown of that in the description of this video as well. So thank you all for listening. Many, many blessings.